Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unique Peace. I am Janice. I am the Reiki Master Teacher and Psychic Medium here on Long Island. And today I'm going to be joined by Ryan Harland. He is a writer, a motivational speaker, and a men's health advocate for the mental health sphere. And today we're going to be talking about what brings him peace and how we can ensure our mental health is being taken care of properly. So join me in welcoming Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Janice. How are you?
I am good. How are things in your neck of the woods, you being in the UK and all?
Yeah, it's getting late. It's very dark here at the moment, but apart from that, it's really good. Yeah.
Good. Now, Ryan, I discovered you on LinkedIn through one of your posts that you wrote on from another guest of mine, Chris Coulter, and it was on the loss of your brother and how you contemplated suicide. And it was very touching to me. And I did a little bit of background research on you, and you're a writer as well. And you've written a book. So, kind of walk us through the whole process of losing your brother, writing a book, to where you are now in motivational speaking and men's mental health advocacy.
Well, it all started obviously when my brother passed away back in 2007. At the age of 33, it was a burst aneurysm. He died from very suddenly, very unexpected as well. Um, it was hard dealing with his loss because he was such a massive part in my life, and he was a big brother that anyone could have wished for, to be honest. Going back to our childhood, we didn't have the best. We were both sexually abused by our own protector. I hate saying the word father when it comes to him, but he was a nice man. And my brother was sexually abused between the age of 5 and 15, a whole 10 years. And I was a little bit later than that. I was my late teens, 16, 17, and that. And obviously, I didn't say anything to anyone when it happened to me, and none of us knew about my brother Kev. And it wasn't until later on in life that I finally spoke up and told my then fiance, my first wife, and then my mum and my brother. And that's when I found out that obviously what happened to my brother. And he said that he let it happen to him to protect me. And them words will always haunt me, and it proved how much I loved my brother. Do you know what I mean? You know, we always fought like brothers did, and that, and I hated him loads of times and over stupid little things. But for him to put his body on the line like that to protect me made him the best big brother I could ever wish for. Um, but obviously losing him was hard going. We was going through the process of getting, I say sperm donor. I name him sperm donor in my book, and from now on, I reference him as sperm donor to get him arrested for what he done to me and my brother. And that's when obviously Kev passed. So I was dealing with the court case and losing my brother at the same time. It really affected my mental health. I hit the rocks basically. I just went down a dark path. I started doing silly things in life. And then it got even worse when it was supposed to go to court. But then SD dropped down dead with a brain tumor. And so all that loss and tragedy in that short space of time, that's when my mental health really went bad. You know, I had an affair that ruined my first marriage. For the next few years, I was drinking, drugs, sleeping with multiple amount of women just to get some clarity in my life, which was the wrong way to do about it. And that went on from 2007 to 2017, and whole 10 years of abuse to myself until I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder through all the stuff I've been through and things like that. And that's when I started writing my book. As I was healing and going on my own journey, that's when I started to write it down and put it out there to the world to help other men. Because when I was going through my therapy for borderline personality disorder, I was in group therapy and I was the only male in the whole classroom for the females, and that kind of spoke volumes to me. Thought, if I'm the only male reaching out, getting help, surely other men need another inspiration to say, look, this man's done it. You know, my story isn't out there just to help men, but my main goal was to help other men, and that's why I became the person I am now.
That is amazing and brave because,
Thank you.
as you know, uh, for men, the gender roles are still
Mm,
very defined.
yeah.
And so it takes a lot of courage to speak up and say, wait, this happens to me. This happens to men too. This happens to boys too. And
Mm.
not just girls. And abuse is abound. So that takes a tremendous amount of bravery to do. And so thank you for having that courage. Now, through all of that, you sustain the loss of your brother, you go through the healing process, which the healing process, let's face it, is very messy at times. It
Oh
dredges
yeah.
it
Yeah.
dredges up everything, right?
Yeah.
That being the case, and you're going through all that healing and doing the writing, I can't imagine that couldn't have been anything but cathartic because you get it all out, and now you're brave enough to share it. In all of that, how did you find peace?
Um, it was a case of learning to accept the word forgiveness comes in many shapes and forms. I always thought forgiveness was forgiving someone for their actions in life. But I've learned through my journey that you can forgive things that happened in the past because there's nothing you can do to change it. They've already happened. You have to kind of accept that, say, right, okay, this happened to me. It was a bad experience, but I can't go back and change that. But what I can do is change who I am from now onwards. You got to stop letting what you go. Oh, bless you.
Excuse me.
Yeah. You got to stop letting the things in your past define who you are as a person. You define who you are every morning you wake up. You can define what type of person you are going to be today, and then the next day, and the next day. So that's one thing that I learned. I thought, this is why I talk about it, because it's another way of healing for me as well. I'm taking control over the things that happen to me and kind of turn it into something positive instead of just dwelling with the darkness and the pain still that's going to ruin the rest of my life, which is no good for me or anyone else in my life.
Right. And that forgiveness is a very big part of finding peace. And
Mm.
how does it shape your personal definition of place? How do you personally define what peace is?
That's a tough one. I guess it's just seeing the bigger picture in everything. It's what you kind of learn what really matters in life and what doesn't. You all the things that I used to think mattered in life, like thought that having a sexual relationship with someone was going to make me happy. But I found that since I've met my new wife, it's not. It's just someone who loves and accepts me for being me is all that matters. And I found that, and so I just see that in other people, and I just embrace what any positivity anyone can give me. And if anyone is negative in my life, I've learned to not chuck them aside and that, but just think, well, okay, you're no good for me. You're on your own journey, and that's okay. But I don't need you on my journey. I've just learned to get the right support around me, and that's what makes true healing and peace. Getting the right team and support group around me.
Beautiful. And so that actually leads to the next question is how do you bring peace into your own life? How do you find peace?
I guess me doing this has kind of been my calling in life, which I never really knew I had. I always thought I was going to just float through life and be nothing special. But doing this, going out, sharing my story, has brought me so much peace and joy and fulfillment. I feel like I was meant to go through all that bad stuff in my childhood, early adulthood, and that to be the person I am today. And it's made me love myself for the first time ever. I fully accepted that I am going to be different to most people. And that's a good thing. I always thought being different was going to be a bad thing. I wasn't just fitting into the stereotypical male role in life, or do you know what I mean? I've just embraced the thing. Okay, I am different. That's okay. That's brought me so much peace by accepting who I am, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And so, how do you help others find peace? So, based on your personal definition of peace and how you bring peace into your own life, how do you think those two things work when you're helping others find peace in their lives?
I guess I just try and make other people realize that it doesn't matter what you go through life or how old you are, you can still make that change, make a difference, and be that person that you always wanted to be. You just, like I said earlier on, you got to learn the other definition of forgiveness. You just got to accept that there is certain things in life that you can't go back and change, but they kind of have molded you to be the person you are today. And that's a good thing if you just accept it and don't let anything stop you from achieving your goals, aspirations in life. You can use all that negativity into something positive, that can drive you forwards. It hasn't got to hold you back anymore. Because a lot of people I've found on my journey that they're still living in the shadows that is holding them back from their past, and they got to learn to be that light to see themselves through that storm they've been going through. You've got to be your own lighthouse. That's why I use a lighthouse symbol in a lot of my analogies, because I feel like a lighthouse is so important in a storm, because that's the one thing that stops you crashing into them rocks when you're in them big waves, and that gets you to safety. So if you can be your own lighthouse in your own storm, then you're going to see yourself safe all the time and that.
And you actually have your own website, Writing the Storm. So,
Hmm.
explain a little bit about that website, what it offers, and it's going across the bottom here so anybody can visit. But kind of let us know what we find there so that we can learn how to be our own lighthouses.
um At the moment, it's enough. It's just a new website. I've only just started it, and that it just gives a little background about who I am and what I talk about, and it's got links to my book if you want to read more about my journey and that. And I do offer to go out and share my story to kind of help and inspire other people. So there's links on there if you want to book me, or just record, have a chat. You can do a 30-minute chat, and we can just have a chat, a talk about anything really. I want to be that lighthouse for them at the moment until they learn to be their own lighthouse in their own journey.
And as a men's mental health advocate, what are some of the things that on your journey that you've learned that will help other men, whether they've gone through a lot or if they're just navigating everyday life?
Um, I guess the main thing is to learn to accept that you are allowed to have feelings, and you haven't got to be this manly man what society has always told us that you got to be, stiff upper lip, don't have feelings, you've got to be strong for everyone else. And you are allowed to ask for help. You are allowed to say that I'm not okay. And you are allowed to express how you are feeling without being scared of being judged, being ridiculed, and things like that. That I think that's why another reason why I share my story, to say, look, yes, I'm a man, but I'm not afraid to say what I've been through, that I've cried, I've asked for help, I've done this, I've done that, and that hasn't made me less of a human being. In fact, sometimes I feel like it's more manly to express your feelings, to show your emotions on your softer side and things like that. For me, I feel that that's more of a man than being the rough, tough, not give a crap type attitude.
And why do you think that society as a whole has kind of like, I don't know how to say this without saying it very bluntly, but the stereotypes. Why do you think that the stereotypes in society, when it comes to men having to be manly and not show emotions and be very stoic, has had the effect it has had on you and men in society in general?
I think it's just been integrated into people's lives for so long now. It's hard to come out of them shadows. There's obviously myself and other men out there who are trying to break that stigma, you could say, but it's hard going. It's, for some reason, society still wants to shun men from opening up, and when a man does decide to open up, they're very quick to be shut down a lot of time or not believed and things like that. When I spoke about my own journey before, I've had people saying that I need to stop showing that side of me all the time, or you could push people away. I've had people saying, well, it's happened to women worse than that. And I'm not there to say any survivor of sexual abuse or anyone going through mental health is anywhere worse than anyone else. We shouldn't compare each other's stories or experiences, because someone's trauma may be smaller than someone else's, but to them it's massive. And that's where society is not balanced enough in that, because of genders. And I'm not putting down women, men, or any gender, but for some reason, when a female speaks up about sexual abuse, she's straight away protected, helped, supported, and that. But when a male speaks up, there's always that pause. There's always that, well, is he telling the truth, or did he do something to deserve that straight away? And that's got to stop.
As a mother of a son, I would always want him to come to me, but that stigma in the world is still very much there. Um, do you feel that there are enough resources for young men, or for men in general, but specifically young men? If there had been resources for you, do you think you would have used them?
I've noticed a change over the last 2 to 3 years, that more male support groups are popping up around the UK, which is great to see. I wish there was stuff years ago, but there wasn't. Because obviously there was nothing around when I was a kid, or when I was going through anything like I was going through. All I had was the doctors who sent me to counsellors all the time, and they just wanted to put tablets down my throat and just say, okay, that would sort you out. You go to counselling for 12 weeks. Yeah, that would do you. And that's not the answer. You need something more structured. You need something more beneficial, and a group session. So you're in the room with other people who feel or look at the world the same way as you, makes a huge difference. Because if you keep going solo to all these places, you never feel like you're part of anything, because you're so alone in your own journey. But if you can be in a room with other survivors or other people who are like you, it's more beneficial because you feel like, wow, I'm not alone in this world. There is other people who feel like me, and you can bounce and learn of each other, and you can become your own community, your own family, and support each other. That's what we need more of.
And do you think we're getting there?
Yeah. Like I said, over the last couple of years, I've noticed more men's groups popping up, which is great, but it's a start. But I still think there needs to be more, and obviously more things put out in society to make it more easier for men, so that stigma will change, so everyone gets the same support, everyone gets the same treatment, and that.
And what are some of the things that you do to cultivate that community?
Um, like said, I just keep sharing my story, keep putting myself out there. Keep, I know, making myself notice, saying like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm male. I've been through this, but look at me. I'm still achieving good things in my life because I was willing to put in the hard work and accept that I needed help and ask for that help. And yeah, it's scary, but I did it, so you can too. I just want to instill that into other people, especially men, but obviously women or anyone.
And you had talked about forgiveness earlier. And
Hmm.
I just want to touch on forgiveness and peace because there's with forgiveness there's a lot to unpack. Excuse me. Um, there's forgiving the person, and there's forgiving the situation, and there's forgiving yourself. Especially when you're in a situation where there's nothing you can do, especially as a child.
Mm.
So out of like all of that, what do you find the hardest to forgive, and have you done
I'd say forgive myself. I think that's been the hardest because I blame myself for a lot of things I've done in my life. But I now know that that was just part of my journey. That was part of my healing. There was no other way I could have done things back then. There was no places that I could have turned to. So I just held everything in. Um, I'd say the hardest one for that is I had to forgive myself for not speaking up sooner, because I went through a stage. I thought if I don't only I'd spoke up sooner, then things might have been different. Then we could have got justice before Kev passed away, or we could have, you know, got him sentenced before he passed away as well. Do you know what I mean? That's the hardest one I've had to learn to forgive myself for, that because it wasn't the right time. I think things were supposed to go down this road that it has to be the person I am today. I had to lose Kev. I had to go not get justice to hit rock bottom to be the person I am now. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm glad I've been through that, because if I wasn't the person I am now, what type of person would I have been? What lessons would I have missed out on learning and things like that? I might not have met my wife now. So that's the thing. You got to forgive yourself for the choices that you make, because they say that you got to make mistakes to learn from them, and it's true. That's how we grow as a human being, by making mistakes and learning from them. If you don't learn from them, then you can't excuse that. You got to stop making excuses for the choices that you made. If you say, okay, yeah, I messed up there, I won't do that again. That's another way of forgiving yourself, because I punished myself for many years for the decisions I made. Then I went and made them again. But as soon as I forgave myself for making them and thought, well, okay, that was wrong. You've hurt some people. But now learn from it. That's when I started changing as a human being. That's when I started becoming the person again who I am today.
And what has hitting rock bottom taught you about peace?
Um, that I'm stronger than I've ever realised I was. I've, uh, and I can deal with anything in life, and that's gave me peace, and to know that life can throw anything at me, and I'm going to deal with it. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let it take over my life. Yeah, I'm going to cry and moan about life like everyone else does, but it's always that thing inside me that's going to push me to come out the other side, and that's gave me so much clarity and so much peace to know that I can face adversity at any strength in life.
And so when you think about peace and you think about your journey as a whole, do you think you would have been able to find peace, like true peace, and not go through all of this?
No, no. I think if I hadn't gone through all this stuff, then I'll just be like every other person and think that nothing in this world can. I wouldn't have to. How can I word this? I wouldn't have to deal with any crap in life and that. And I don't think I could be someone like that. I don't think I could be someone who just floats through life and just mundane, go to work, come home, pay the bills, week on, week on, month, year. You know, it's. I think this is the only way you can find peace because you stare death in the face, or not literally, but you've seen it. So much loss and destruction in life that you can make the most of any light that comes your way, and you can embrace all the good things in life, and anything that brings you peace and joy, you notice it more, because otherwise I think that you'll be blinded to it and it just wouldn't be the same.
So this whole experience has opened your eyes in a new way when it comes to being at peace in life. You would say yes?
Oh, oh God, yeah. You know, I see so much good in other people, which I don't think I ever would have. And I can see when other people are hurting as well. Sometimes before they even know that they're hurting themselves, I can see the pain in their eyes when they're talking to me, and they could have a smile on their face, but I notice in their eyes that something's not right. And as much as it's hard to get to through to that person that is struggling in that, but it's beautiful that I can see the pain in someone else, because I know I can help them because I've been there. I understand it, you know. And then when they turn to me and ask for help and I feel like, wow, you know, that's good. They've come to me to help because they can know that I've been there. I've been through it. And they ask for my help.
And that's beautiful.
Mm.
That is beautiful. And when we think about when people come to you for help, what's in your toolbox? What do you pull out to help people? If you meet somebody on the tube, or you're walking down the street with somebody and you're having chat and something difficult comes up and you know that you want to help them find some sort of peace in life. What's in your toolbox? What's your go-to?
My first thing is just to make sure they feel heard. They've got that safe space that they can offload to someone, and it's not going to be thrown back in their face, or it's not going to be ridiculed, or it's not going to be questioned. For me, the best thing that anyone struggling needs is just that safe space to feel like they can offload and nothing's going to be used against them. And so give them that chance, that ear, so they can just offload, and then we can talk things through, and I can just kind of help them to say that, you just shared something massive, and that's a great relief off your mind, and now you can look at things more clearly, and you can get through this, you can do this, you just need to start believing in yourself, and just kind of use things that I've been through, and just say, look, I've done this, perhaps try this or try that, or just pass them on to someone who's going to help them more beneficial than me, but still be that support network that they need, which is going to be massive, because you don't want to go for this journey alone.
No, and that is a lot of people. So many people feel alone going through this
Yeah.
journey. And I noticed, for me personally, having gone through it pretty much alone, and then having, found that support system along the way, but feeling alone, it's really hard to get started.
Yeah.
It,
Oh, definitely.
it, that in those moments, sometimes it's like it's easier to give up than to keep going.
Yeah. You see so many people give up because they feel so alone, because they feel like they've got no one to turn to, and that, or just to offload to. And this is what people need. They need that, even if it takes one person, that one person can save someone's life. I believe listening does save lives. It just gives someone that chance to just offload and explode, and it might not even make sense to that person, but just them talking is releasing so much energy from their body that they've never released before, and then you can start looking at things clearer. You can start managing. I can't talk now. Managing it a little bit more than they did the day before. Do you know what I mean? And it just helps him, and I think, well, I've just offloaded that. I can do that again. It wasn't that bad. I haven't been shunned from society and that. Well, I can do that again. I can go and see someone else, or I can go and get some proper help. And it just gives them that kick up the arse to say, yes, I can do this. It isn't going to beat me.
And that is the key there. This isn't going to beat me. It's
Mm,
because we know how quickly and easily it is to go down that downward spiral when you're in need of help,
mm,
and how quickly it is that our thoughts go dark rather than what where can I get help?
mm.
So,
Yeah.
and especially for the men out there listening, it's okay to ask for help. And say, you guys need the life preservers as much as everybody else. And is there any other thoughts on peace when it comes to your journey or your continued journey in this world?
Um, I guess just carrying on being myself, being 100% authentic Ryan, you know, and I say it to other people: stop pretending to be someone that you're not, just to feel like you've got to fit into society. Your right crowd, your right following will love you and see you for you being you. You haven't got to change to be anyone else, and that's what I carry on being. That brings me peace as well. That I've learned that the wrong people will come and go, the right people will stay on your journey, and that's okay. It's okay to lose people, because the space that they lead, someone better is going to come in and fill that space in your life, and it's going to be more wonderful, more joyful, and more peaceful, because they bring less problems, they bring less drama, and you're just building more love in your life, and it's just wonderful.
That is very true. That is very
Mm.
true.
Don't get me wrong,
And
it was hard
oh,
to learn that one, because I used to fight tooth and nail to keep people in my life years ago, but they were the wrong people. They were bringing nothing but drama and trouble in my life, but I could not see that because I was scared of being alone.
A lot of people are scared of being alone. So
Yeah,
yes, we cling to what is not good for us and to
yeah,
those who are not good for us. So that that also is part of the healing process is learning to
mm,
let go of not just the things that don't serve us, but the people,
mm,
especially when those people seem important to us at the time. So
definitely, definitely. I've learned also that not everyone's on the same journey as you. Your paths may cross for a little bit, and that's okay. But they're on a different journey. Their goal is something completely different to you. But there is people who are going to be on your path for a long time. They may not have come into your life yet, but they will do. They'll be right when you need them the most, and then the connection that you have will blow your world wide open. It'll make everything so much brighter and more warmth, and the smells will be so beautiful and that because they're bringing all the goodness that you've been looking for and desired in life, and you're giving them all the stuff as well that you brought all this brightness and love into their life as well. And it's amazing. So just hang in there, keep going on your own journey. Don't worry about anyone else's journey. Just follow your own path, your own footsteps.
it's like that saying, people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah,
And they'll come when they're supposed to. So
yeah.
that's very true. Very true. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us today. I'm so grateful.
You're
I'm
more than
very
welcome. Thank you for
grateful.
having me.
And definitely, if you're have any questions about mental health or how to start, what resources Ryan used to start out and maybe get some help yourself, whether you're in the UK, Australia, the States, please visit his website. All his contact information is there. You can also find him on LinkedIn. And going to just say goodbye to Ryan for a moment and be right back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I hope you all have learned the importance of men's mental health, not just women's. We all deserve equal shares of assistance. And I'm so grateful that you've joined us today and have a peaceful rest of your day.